Hi, welcome back. We hope you had like a good 10-minute break, and we're really excited to share the next set of presentations with you all. This work certainly would have been impossible without the unseen people that have been a part of it. I'm grateful to my community and my community partner, my absolutely magical friends, my family, my parents, my partner, and all of those that continue being a part of this work. I appreciate you. Um, As we begin, I would like to acknowledge that the space I've been working in has made me more cognizant of the language I use. However, I appreciate if there's any feedback that you might have as well. My thesis presents and talks about neurodiversity and topics relating to it that could feel intense and heavy. If you do feel overwhelmed and you need to step out, please do so as you take care of yourself. What is neurodiversity? It's the idea that people experience and interact with the world around them in many different ways, and where differences are not viewed as deficits. It refers to the diversity of all people and is often used in the context of neurological or developmental conditions. My thesis focuses on ADHD, which stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. It's been recorded to impact approximately 11% of children and almost 5% of adults in the US, according to a 2017 CDC survey, and has since been on the rise. Amongst those 5%, my thesis focuses on adult women living with ADHD. In the process of defining the term women, there lies a nuance of identity. So, in terms of gender identity, my thesis looks at any person who, regardless of their sex assigned at birth, identifies as a woman. While the actual number of people presenting symptoms of ADHD are similar by gender, males are almost 3 times more likely to be diagnosed with ADHD than females. This often happens as the markers of an ADHD diagnosis are consistently associated with the symptoms presented by and recorded in males. Lingering stereotypes, referral bias, hormonal fluctuations, and various other factors have complicated the presentation of ADHD in women, making it harder to be recognized. The unintended consequences of this has left a generation of women forced to internalize their symptoms, thinking of traits like inattentiveness, disorganization, or carelessness as personal flaws, rather than issues that require medical attention. This manifests in social, personal, and psychological ways, affecting an individual's growth, education, relationships, and sense of self, ultimately affecting their quality of life. The representation of an ADHD diagnosis needs to diversify, not dilute. ADHD is feeling like you're always behind, afraid of being seen as lazy, and overworking to compensate until you burn out in the blaze of glory. This is an accurate description of ADHD masking and rings true for almost all the lived experiences in this ecosystem. Looking closer at these relationships, we can see how people are affected at different stages and in varying capacities. The core is where women living with ADHD sit. Just outside that, they have their immediate network, friends, family, co workers, etc. Beyond all of this is the unknown and the unseen. In the shadows lie larger systems at play that include healthcare, education, civic systems, and many more. This ecosystem grows every time a new individual discovers the diagnosis and becomes a part of the community. My research insights provided me with various opportunities that I could design within, out of which I chose to create in the space of self advocacy, awareness, and systems for self discovery. Leading me to my guiding question: how might we design to reimagine and reintroduce self expression as a form of self care for women living with ADHD in order to contribute to a stronger sense of self and better quality of life? I had the honor of working alongside strong, thoughtful, and kind women who express willingness to learn, share experiences, and design collaboratively. Our conversations were enlightening and reaffirming. Rachel Dietges, who is a licensed clinical social worker and the founder of Social Workers Who Design, was kind enough to agree to review any material before it went out into the community in order to ensure that the language and content was trauma informed. My community partner, Katie Weber, is the founder of Women and ADHD, an online community that provides women living with ADHD, diagnosed or undiagnosed, the space and opportunity to connect. A lot of my work was informed by the insights I gathered by being a part of this and allowed me to participate in conversation, extend, and receive support. It's humbling to witness the reverberation of experiences in community that serves as a reminder to recognize the ways in which what we say and do affects systems, places, and people around us. There's a lot of talk and encouragement to practice self care, but a lot of the burden still falls on the individual. What currently exists in the space is an excess of tools targeted to increase productivity and maximize for efficiency in order to help with scheduling, organizing, focusing, etc. However, these tools, when not designed with care, send a message of inadequacy in individuals living with ADHD, forcing them to adapt into a system that creates more problems than it solves, and often trivializes the condition and lived experience. This isn't a personal failure, it's a systemic letdown. We need to know better in order to do better. As Dr. Lauren rightly notes, let's use our expertise for more than just getting people to be good little worker bees. The question isn't about how to fix ADHD. The real challenge lies in asking, exploring, and accounting for neurodivergent individuals when we design and create. The very nature of ADHD makes it impossible to have one right solution. We're always innovating and creating. My intervention centers self care and expression in order to learn being kinder, offering compassionate and patience to yourself for all that you are, and not resentment for the things that you're not. I'm mindful about not creating another tool that adds to the burden experienced daily by neurodivergent individuals. Born from this intent and vision was Moody Boards, a space to exercise self expression as a form of self care. It allows you to explore and build a practice to process your feelings through visuals, images, colors, shapes, etc. Most people living with ADHD experience emotions intensely, and having an outlet helps with understanding, processing, and regulating these emotions. The process can be described in three simple steps: identify, introspect, and iterate. We start with a grounding check in, featuring the wonderful feelings wheel created by Dr. Gloria Wilcox. Here, we identify the three things that we're feeling at the moment and make note of them. Next, we introspect and look for images and visuals that invoke the same feeling, while simultaneously creating the Moody board. And finally, we iterate. These are some of the boards created by people during our sessions. Each of them interpreted it in their own unique way as they created them. Moody Boards was created with the intent of personal expression and exploration, but if chosen, can also be used to show someone what you want to say instead of just telling them. This currently lives digitally to be used and shared online in order to make designing a community-informed approach. By coming back to this whenever words fail us, we slowly start building the act of self-expression into a practice. We often think productivity means to work. It doesn't. Productivity means to make intentional choices towards a goal. The choice could be to pause, and the goal could be to replenish. Productivity could mean to rest. I envision this as a building block for increased communication and in order to better understand ADHD. Using it in the same way we use language, songs, letters, or just about anything to communicate with each other. It could also be a way to share with your partners, family members, or others what your ADHD looks like in order for there to be space for mutual support, understanding, and care in relationships. It's been heartbreaking to see, know, and listen to the experiences of people in community, with most of them feeling like they've lost time due to inadequate care, awareness, and resources. My intervention is an exercise that centers self-expression and prioritizes self-care. It aims to remind us that self-care isn't selfish and self-expression is essential. In a world where productivity and progress at the cost of self is accepted as the norm, there lies value and power in reclamation and reinvention. The work that I've had the opportunity to learn from and build on has a long way to go before it can rest. But when I do look around me, I see all the people who care, show up, and keep working relentlessly to create a future they wish they had. This quote felt fitting as I continue thinking about the future of this work. The best thing I've done for my ADHD is cut myself slack. It's not planners or medication or productivity hacks. It's recognizing that the world is hard for me to be around, and I need to support myself through it with self-compassion. Self-care is honoring your needs. It's saying no. And it's giving yourself the grace to show up as you are. Thank you.